Okay, you ready?
Ready.
Go.
Yeah!
Hello there. It's the Gallery Show. That's TS.
And that's Sasha.
And we're live on Adobe Radio. We're by Coastal. So TS couldn't hear me screaming from the other side of the
It's visual
world.
cues.
It is visual. And I couldn't see that you couldn't hear me because I had the music up. So.
And I'm currently lighting my
priorities.
joint.
We have priorities on the show,
for sure.
and one of them is to get our J's lit before we start. We're live on IW Radio, and you can find us everywhere. Everywhere you can follow us on Instagram, Cool Nerd Weed Show, and YouTube also is where you should really look for us because we post a lot there. Well, TS posts a lot there from our Zoom videos, from the live show that we're doing right now. And maybe you're watching this on YouTube. Whoa! And it's like a Rick and Morty episode. It's so meta. So we're gonna start the show with good stuff because we're probably gonna get a little ranty. We're probably going to get a little ranty when it gets to like the halfway point of the show. We may or may not.
There is a lot going on in the cannabis world right now. There is so many stories. There's so much happening. There's a lot of there's some good news. There's some reefer madness happening, and we're gonna give you a little taste of everything.
Yes, we're gonna go over all of the things that you have seen on your televisions and seen on the internets, and just some stuff, that is making its way across our desk. And one of the things, so this is cool. This you probably saw. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I don't know your life, but it was a few days ago, and I guess the Biden administration did a whole thing right before our eyes, and didn't they announce it at like 4:20 or something like that on Friday?
Oh yeah.
So they're cheeky little silly beans over there in the White House, and they announced very cool stuff though. This is history making, and it's a landmark weed research bill that was signed into a law. Sickles. So this is
huge.
Cool.
This is huge.
That's pretty rad.
Yes. Thank you, Joe Biden. Thank you. It was a bipartisan effort.
It was. People can really come together about weed. That's a true fact.
Yes. If there's one thing that the red and the blue and everybody else
is green, is the Green Party, and not like the Green Party, like the Green Party, like Ross Perot or whoever was in the Green Party. Like it's like the Green Party. Ralph Nader, yeah. Same thing. It is. It's the good Green Party. It's the Frosty Green Party, and
that should be our party platform. The Frosty Green Party.
The Frosty Green Party.
We're starting a new party.
Yeah, Oh no, is that a cult?
We need some more members.
Yeah, it's going to be a club, and it's going to be part of our whole entire like what do we always say? We're gonna have like a whole branch of government. You'll be Mayor McCheese.
That's the official title, is Mayor McCheese.
You always say that, it makes me laugh. So we certainly have plans to be consulted by the White House for lots of weed things, but until they get to us, we're just waiting for the phone call. They have to do other things because we're very busy. So they should start to get laws into on paper and whatnot. And this is a really, really, really big step. So Biden started the rescheduling review process, which is it's very early stages, but it's part of the ways I think the administration is looking towards before they're done. Before the election in a couple years, I think, and before they have to focus on the election, I think they need and want to get weed off the fucking. I don't think Joe wants to hear about it anymore. I think the president's please stop your whippersnappers with your Mary Janes. I need to go do important things, and this is very important, and he knows that it is. Finally, Jesus Christ! Finally, Joe Biden. Thank you, God.
Yeah, thank you.
It took a minute, but he's there, and I'm very happy. So yeah, this is a really big step.
Monumental.
Quite. I guess I'm trying to look for like a timeline, but it doesn't really say there any sort of timeline. It just says that they're kind of looking at reform. They're looking at doctors. They want to talk. Joe Biden's always been, he wants the science. So I reckon they're going to talk to a lot of doctors who have been using this as research. And I know doctors, my own doctors, here in New York, actually, started doing weed research many years ago. And I assume, and I'm not quite sure, but I assume that they're going to tap into this research, like kind of off the books research that we've been doing, because we haven't been able to have like actual research, just in like kind of a free form, let's talk about what's happening kind of way, right?
Yeah, because most of the research projects are funded, when you go to like speaking of like a Cornell or a Harvard or any John Hopkins University, all of these studies are funded by the federal government.
Yeah.
So they couldn't actually get product because it was illegal.
Because it's illegal.
You can't study a federally controlled substance and have it federally funded. So there was never any fucking studies regarding cannabis.
Right, and that's been the issue forever. You'll hear any sort of doctor, anybody who talks about this is that's really the issue is the schedulization of weed as Schedule 1. That's been the issue all the time. That's the issue from top to bottom, really, with weed. I do hope that this sort of bill leads to also talks about how to not make it a complete shit show when it's deschedulized. I don't know if it will be, but like I don't want like it to be. I just want it to be like organized, and I don't want it to be like when weed becomes legal like prematurely and everybody's like
just a fall like everybody suddenly everybody's holding, everybody's growing.
Yeah,
everybody's got a bowl company. Because
with that comes like the kind of like the downward spiral of the actual industry. And I think this industry is different than any other industry in the whole wide world in that it is illegal for bullshit reasons in a way that is being looked at finally with some sense and expunging records and so on and so on and so on. So, it's difficult, it's difficult to say when anything would happen, but it is one of the deschedulization is one of the things that's being looked at to like completely reform. And it's under consideration now.
Also, the Safe Banking Act is still on the table and is probably moving forward, because cannabis needs a safe place to store its, like every other fucking business in the world has access to banking.
Exactly. Another reason why this is an industry like no other is
safe
because
place.
There's no banking system for weed. You cannot use your credit card at weed. You like there's a lot of stuff that weed has to go through that literally no other business
on the planet.
No. So this would be nice. And again, I know good old Joe wanted to know the research, and I do think like we'll talk about some studies that quote unquote studies in the next like 45 minutes of the show, where this is why we could use some like actual research showing that weed should not be Schedule 1. I mean, that's just it's pure insanity, and it's literally made up for mostly racist reasons. So that's
Schedule
number one.
Being the same as heroin, fentanyl, cocaine. I don't know. LSD's in there too, but
LSD is also in there.
That's a whole nother story, though.
But those things are those right. And heroin is not weed. You know, like those are two very different things. And it's a shame that weed got lumped in, but it shouldn't be. So that's like A of all. And then B of all, I feel like he's been saying is, you know, he wants to see like where medicinally it really is helping people and how it can be used in that way medicinally, because I think that's also a very big reason why it is being looked at the way it's being looked at, because more and more people are being like, hey, this isn't like a bad thing. People are using it mostly as relief, if not always as relief. I mean, isn't every single person using weed medicinally? Even if they don't realize it?
Are using cannabis medicinally when you use it, period, whether you know
full fucking stop. Even if you don't know, I promise you're using it medicinally. It is like nothing. Now, again, now with that research comes maybe some negative things. I don't know. There are people who don't tolerate weed very well. There are people who have CHS. There are people who don't. There are people who are allergic to it. There are people who are very, very sensitive to it. We may find out why that is, and we may find out how to treat that, and we may find out what to do about it. So I think even those things, especially those things, I'm very much looking forward to understanding the reasons behind that, CHS namely, but certain, cannabis, what are they calling it? Cannabis misuse disorder or something like that. What is it? Cannabis. It's this new disorder that I don't want to discount,
disorder,
I have a chronic case of cannabis misuse disorder, but like it's
think about all of the things we don't know about cannabis, all of the terps, all the various cannabinoids.
There's thousands of cannabinoids, man.
And how they can work, how they all work together naturally as a natural plant, but if you boost certain ones, various ways, how you can feel and how they can help society.
At all of the fucking, hemp shops, you see like CBG, CBN, like, oh bitch. Like everybody's just like, and that's, always source your shit, but it is out there. The science is out there and everybody is taking advantage of it. So why not actually get it on the books? You know what I'm screaming? If like your local hemp shop, which are earnest, I'm not talking gas station hemp. I'm talking like these hemp shops, at least out here, they're legitimately selling good CBD.
For sure.
That is sourced from hemp. But they're also isolating cannabinoids, and that is pretty rad. Good Kind is one of our favorite products. They have been isolating since we've been talking to them. They've been in on that new. I mean, that's where you get your Delta 8s and your Delta 9s. So much cool shit has come from science and weed that it would be really neat to see all that stuff done. And again, even if it's
if you had a highly funded study with quality grown cannabis for these scientists to study, how amazing is that? We're like
titties.
We'll be making leaps and bounds, and for fucking
titties. Are you kidding? That would be great if you had fucking Cornell and I don't know, you just had the top scientists in the whole world legally able to do clinical trials with weed. My goodness gracious.
We'll get Riley D on it.
Riley D is already on it. So much.
Put her in charge.
Yes, definitely. We love Riley and all of the chemists who are doing just earnest work to get more understanding about weed. But unfortunately, since it's freaking illegal federally, they get suppressed. We get suppressed, you know what I mean, on social media and shit. It's just them, them's are the breaks with something that has a Schedule 1 stamp on it. And there's a lot of stigma, and we'll go over that. But this is a really good way to dispel a lot of that, is by doing some solid research. So yeah, I'm cool. I mean, I'm happy about that. That's pretty cool. So we'll see how that goes in the next couple of years. I think they got to get something done before they're already like lame duck. So,
Yeah. Get it done. Get it done before
the world ends. Yeah, that would be great.
Shit
it
show.
would be great to see everybody not in jail from weed, because also that, because that's a big thing to tackle. Also, you deschedule weed. You got to make sure you do right by people who are wrongly imprisoned for weed. So
yeah, absolutely.
There's things that we need to go forward with. That it's not going to be like 1, 2, 3s, easy peasies. Like, it's the history of weed in this country is kind of shitty. So we have to make right for all of that. Weed is used as a scapegoat for every goddamn thing. So hopefully in the next coming years, change doesn't happen overnight. Even though it fucking should. We don't have all day. Like, life is so short. Like, what are we, like, why does everything take so long?
We've been fighting this good fight for a long time.
I need to smoke.
A little more patience, yes. But there's more good news.
Let's
more
talk about
good
New
news
Jersey.
that's happening.
Yeah. So
New Jersey?
More good news. Yeah, I want to talk about New Jersey. Is that okay? Can we talk about New Jersey?
Yeah, let's talk about New Jersey.
Where's my weed? Okay.
What's going on in New Jersey? New Jersey lawmakers approved banking protection.
Yeah, and Jersey and Florida also did something.
And Florida.
Yeah.
There's people making the laws know that dollars, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And this is making dollars, and this shit has to make sense. So New Jersey, they are approving some banking laws. I mean, even Congress is preparing. Look at that.
New Jersey Littles. It's very purple.
New Jersey Tiny, the purplies. That's a nice looking bud.
I gotta be honest. This is a pretty good batch. I'm being honest with you. This is
What do you get in New Jersey?
Hold on. Wait, what the fuck? Oh, Kind Tree.
Kind Tree. Okay. I saw that on the menu.
Tree in California, or am I making that up?
There's Kindly, and there might be a Kind Tree. It's kind of a generic name.
Yeah, true.
Could be.
And this is called Beach Grapes.
There's a lot of New Jersey beach strains.
Well, because it's the beach, baby. You can go down the shore. What are you talking about? Yeah, no, because
makes sense.
It does a lot, and I really love this place. It makes me want to work in a dispensary again.
So would you say
that's good vibes?
That this is a New Jersey specific strain?
It might be. I haven't asked, but I should.
That's coming across the nerd's desk.
It's grown and raised in New Jersey, and I've never heard of it before. Beach grapes. Let's look. Did I look it up? Let's look it up.
Let's do your research, people.
Do your research.
Beach grapes.
I found it. It's only so far I'm finding it in.
Did you find it in Leafly Kind Tree Review?
I did.
How does it taste?
Lineage or anything? It's super terpy, and it has it's sweet. It's like what you want a grape strain to taste like. A
go-to seed finder website when
nice.
Nobody has information, this website will have some information. Yeah. So Beach Grapes is, are you ready for it?
I'm so ready.
Wedding Crashers and Grape Pie.
Oh.
So some of our favorite strains are
what
coming
do you know?
What the fuck do you know?
What the fuck do you know about that? I really like it. I really do. And I got it because I thought it was on sale. I think it wound up not being on sale because I've been getting a quad. And it's 23. I don't look at the percentages really anymore. I just want to try everything. So I've just been getting stuff that I think I would like. And Beach Grapes does sound like it would be up my alley. But then again, grape strains, traditionally, I want them, my heart wants them. But if it's a pie kind of situation or a wedding cross with, my heart wants grape strains, but then I try it and it's not terpy enough or something. This combines everything. So my nose is bigger than my lungs. It smells really good, like grapes, and then I taste it, and I'm or it doesn't get me high. Rather, usually they're traditionally not as stony for me, but this is stony.
But I think it's the wedding cake because when you go down the lineage of Wedding Crashers, it's wedding cake and purple punch. Well, purple punch for us always had that flavor, but it never had that.
Didn't give us the
punch. Yeah,
the alleged.
It was always great.
The alleged punch.
The alleged punch. So when you mixed it with the wedding cake, that's always one of our favorites as well. that wedding cake.
We love. Yes. So good job on you, Kind Tree. Good job on you, Apothecarium, for being very friendly every time I go. Work. And good job on you, New Jersey, for getting your banking protections. Yeah, Jersey wants to make that money. I mean, they're not fucking around when it comes to whatever it is. And also, like, you saw a bunch of weird banking shit go on in Massachusetts when they went legal. Some states have some weird, money shit going on. And it always is a bad look because it involves, like, weed, and you don't want shit to be corrupt when it involves weed, but it's in every industry. There's always some weird shit. So this is good because it's from the Safe Banking Act. It has language from that. Should be all like up to par, and you can act like a normal fucking business who can accept money and put it in banks. Like a real bank, and you don't have to real
fucking business
clean it or like use Bitcoin. Bless Bitcoin's heart, but you could do
Bitcoin handshakes. Come on, all that business,
all that biz. So
all that biz.
Good, and Florida's doing that too, right?
Yeah, Florida's on board.
Wonderful.
Florida cannabis is highly regulated.
Highly, yeah, they're like Canada with their shit. Like they're really on top of it. Yeah,
there's not a whole lot of companies that control it, and the big players, and they are truly the multi-state big players in Florida.
Sure,
need and are pushing for cannabis banking reform. So I think there's some things happening.
Great.
There are definitely some things happening in Florida. That there's already some banks that are accepting, like they're getting ahead of the game. They're going to accept those cannabis dollars, and they're already going to be in.
I love it. I'm stoked. Even if it's regulation, it's still good. It's good. Banking is good. So that's great. And another piece of good news is that Rhode Island is the United States of fucking good news today. And Rhode Island recreational weed is a go. Woo!
Yeah, it only took 6 months in Rhode Island.
She must be fucking nice. It took us like a full year.
6 months after Governor Dan McKee signed legislation into legalization.
Here it took for a long time too in New Jersey.
Yeah, what the fuck? So 5 stores began selling adult use cannabis on December 1st.
Well, good for you, Rhode Island. You're going to love it.
There's going to be more licensed retailers soon, and let's go to Rhode Island.
20% tax.
Pretty sure I've been.
I don't think I've ever been to Rhode Island. You probably have. You've been everywhere.
Rhode Island. Let me see. Club Babyhead.
Go get weed, Rhode Island. I wonder what Rhode Island weed is like.
I know the local. I mean, Rhode Island is.
Can't imagine it.
What do they grow in Rhode Island? Rhode Island's tiny. If you blink, you might miss it.
Yes, that's what I hear. It's tiny like a little baby.
And it is not an island. It's a misnomer. It's
neither a road nor an island, according to Linda Richmond from Saturday Night Live. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yes.
So listen to us being so happy right now. We're so happy. Just remember how it sounds when we're happy, because we're probably going to be annoyed. And listen, if you disagree with anything that you hear, whatever. Like, we can all have different opinions. Like, we're not going to be mad about it. We can start a conversation. Of course we can. We work in it. We have feelings about it. Things are changing. Words are going places, but our opinions are our own, and they do not reflect anybody else's but our own. Okay? That should be said before a spirited conversation. We're going to take a
debate.
Well, we're agreeing. It's the rest of the world that's like, they got to get on our level. We're going to take a break. Very quick one. And then we're going to come back and talk that shit.
The nerds will be right back. It's never too late to join the sesh.
Pass that here.
It's the Cool Nerd Weed Show with TS and Sasha. Don't panic. It's organic.
Yeah.
It is the Cool Nerd Weed Show with TS and Sasha. That's TS.
And that's Sasha.
Yeah. We are live, and whenever you're listening, even if you're not listening live, even if you're listening like 2 days later and you're like, oh man, this is great, I'm going to listen live. We love when you listen live because we're very silly, And when you listen later, we would love that too, because you can find us on all the things that casts have pods. We're on them. and we're on YouTube too. So like, if you Google us, like you'll find a lot of stuff. Oh, and plant-based. We do a show called Plant-Based, which I feel like is the best thing that we've ever done. They made us look so good. Yeah, we fucking love you. And the last episode was meatloaf, vegetarian meatloaf. I wanted that one to air like around Thanksgiving because it was like comfort food. And that shit was titties. Like, oh man, it was so good. It was so good. And we had so much fun doing them too. So, and those are brought to you by Archetype CBD, by the way. If you would like some deliciously sourced CBD, and we're always talking about sourcing your CBD. Like, we don't mess around with this. We really don't. And we want you to get good CBD, and we love their gummies so much, and we love their CBD oil, and we love their creams. I mean, we use all of their stuff, and it's great. So if you want 25% off, get that shit for your family. It's Christmas. Come on. Don't be a D. Just do plant-based 25 for 25% off your order, and tell all your friends because you're going to love it. We were talking about that earlier in the show, is CBD companies that are like, you know, doing it right and not like skimping on the research and the sourcing. And they Archetype does that. And we like that at the Cool Nerd Weed Show. We're fans. So things that we're not fans of is leave it to the nerds to do like a promo, like in like right before we get angry. We stay true to ourselves, is what we do.
It is. It's the whole
We're an honest
point.
show.
It's the whole point.
That's why we do the show. Is because weed is so wonderful that like you can be honest about it, and things get honest in weed, and because we're so passionate. That's why it's never, you know, any true hate. But like, if we smoke weed and we don't like it, we're going to say we don't like it. If we hear something about something that goes on in the world, we're going to say we don't like it if we don't like it. But if we do, we're going to say we do.
We can't help it.
We have integrity. So
total integrity. It's
through and through. So, okay. We noticed this week, and I don't know why, but there's been like a major like bloating of the reefer madness moment. Like every so often you'll get your studies where it's like, studies say weed can fucking kill your, you know, baby in its sleep from 2 rooms over. And like that, and you're like, what are you talking about? And it's like some study from like, you know, a made up publication like IHateWeed.com news. But this week I feel like it's been a lot of them, and it's dealing with children too. Kind of reminds me of Reefer Madness when the baby was in the bathtub, you know, like, because the guys smoked a joint because the parents smoked a joint on the couch and they passed out and forgot about their fucking kid in the bath. That like is what this reminds me of. Come on, man. Like, who's doing that? And if you want, there are people probably there's nobody doing that on weed. I promise you. There are people who believe that though. There are people who believe that. And that's when I get a little bit nervous. You know what I mean? Like, we should be talking about all the things that are true, all the things that happen with weed that aren't necessarily good. But I feel like a lot of these stories. So which one do you want to start with? Can you really overdose on marijuana? The simple answer is yes. And I wanted to just like work through that.
Okay.
Like, cause like, and the reason why Virginia came up is because last month, there was a 4-year-old who ate Delta 8 gummies, and he ate up to 15 Delta 8 gummies, and the dosage and brand has not been revealed, and he died. He passed away. So
this is horrible.
It's fucking terrible. So there's things in this article that say so much for marijuana being harmless, so on and so forth. Delta 8 is also different than your typical THC gummy, so there's that to consider. I don't know where your Delta 8 was sourced from. All those things, we wonder about that often. So my heart and soul goes out to this family. This is awful and horrible and very, very sad. And this is something that is out there, and it's something that happened. So this led to this article, this KTLA article,
Bam.
Yeah, you got it. So the KTLA article says that that yes, you can overdose on weed. There was another case in Van Nuys where a bunch of kids were hospitalized because of a suspected overdose. They're saying that the kids may have ingested some edibles. So they were in the ER freaking out.
But they don't know for sure.
They don't know. This they don't know. I think the kid in Virginia, I think they knew. And believe me, I feel horrible talking about this, like just referring to him as a kid in Virginia. He's somebody's son. So this is truly horrible. But I just want to be careful by using overdose, right? Like I can say I have had instances where I would consider myself overdosed, right? Like where I feel like my bodily functions aren't controllable. I want to crawl up the wall. I'm sweating. I'm passing out. I'm feeling like I'm having a medical emergency. I may be throwing up. I've never thrown up on edibles. Have you?
No, definitely not. From straight cannabis, hell no.
Yeah. So, but people do. I mean, people get sick from edibles all the time. So, like, I just want to be careful about the word overdose. But if that's what you would consider to have happened to these children, then I guess yes. I would never recommend a 4-year-old unless under major medical supervision, have that much THC. So obviously that's an overdose, right?
Yes. Yeah. By definition.
By definition.
Sure.
These kids in Van Nuys, sure. Just let's try. Weed is not harmless. I mean, you get high. You know,
for sure.
It's not like we don't have to pretend like that doesn't happen. It does.
Well, we also have a responsibility. You have a responsibility as when there's children around to.
Sure, you want to lock your weed up with your liquor, and not to put. You know, I don't know what happened, but I also. Weed should be locked up with your liquor if that's a practice that you do.
Somewhere where kids can't get to it.
Please don't let your weed be anywhere where your kids can get to it. It should be where your pills are, your aspirins. It should not be in the medicine cabinet. It should be somewhere where it's more
probably
like your sacred place. My mom apparently had it buried in her closet in like a little 70s style notch in the closet. And she was like, you would have never found it ever in a million years. And I was like, oh, word. So yeah, it's like, and listen, if that is, I don't want to put any blame, I don't want to put any weirdness on anything, but I do want to be clear that weed will get you high. Taking too many edibles is a mistake. I take a lot of edibles. And the other one was the Minnesota one.
It was
Death by Gummy. It's Death by Gummy.
Death by Gummies.
Yeah. Death by Gummy is this Minnesota thing. Go ahead.
What did Minnesota sort of accidentally somehow it said accidentally legalized edible cannabis somehow back, and this is how they got these mega strong gummies.
It was some loosey-goosey regulation that kind of slipped through the cracks-ish kind of thing. We've had edibles those fortune cookies, those were 100 milligrams. Those got me. Those fortune cookies. So good. Are you not, like I said, we were prepping for the show and I was like, I am their target audience. I want my hands on those. But that is a lot of milligrams. I would not recommend that to anyone. I literally would have to know. I would have to know you. I wouldn't even recommend that for you. I feel like if you took 100 milligrams, TS, I feel like you'd be nuts.
I would be. I worked my way up to a 100 milligram dose, but I was taking 25s and 50s daily. And
we were doing the absolute extracts, and those will build up your tolerance.
Those will build up your tolerance
and
fast,
we were able to do that. I mean, I take 100 milligrams, not daily much anymore, but I'm up to, however, 50 to 100.
However, if you just order these Death by Gummy edibles and you've never taken an edible before, it's your first time, and you are
going to quote unquote overdose.
Is 100 milligrams, even if it's close to 100 milligrams, a true 100 milligram THC edible is going to put you in a state of you were going to be confused. You're going to be very relaxed. You will probably not be able to move. You will have severe cotton mouth.
And you'll be
laughing. You could be inside your head and just completely.
If you don't know what's happening to you, then you will for sure be inside your head. I can guarantee it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if there's a case where I've heard somebody first get high and be like, or take too many edibles when they take edibles, maybe just a couple edibles here and there, and then you're just like, that's the way it should be. Or when you take edibles to do the thing that you want them to do, which is like make you feel a certain way. But when you take too many edibles, I can guarantee you're going to be inside your head. You know what I mean? You know, like I wish it wasn't the case. It's a side effect of taking too many edibles. You know, it'll be what I always tell everybody is that it will be over.
Yeah.
100%. Like when people would call me, I always use this story. When people would call me when I was at the receptionist desk and they would be like,
this is hilarious.
I took that whole brownie. Hello.
Oh, okay.
I took that. Hello. Should I call 911? No, don't call 911.
They just ate the 1,000 milligram Korova brownie, like half of it.
Yeah.
Quarter. And it was like 500 milligrams. And
that's a lot of milligrams. That's a lot of milligrams.
The people in Minnesota, the Death by Gummy people, you can't even, like, we went to their website. Their gummies are completely sold out. So this was probably the best
advertising
that anybody could have ever had in Minnesota but that's just crazy. It's kind of irresponsible, really, to, I don't know, as a manufacturer, I would think that dosing that high of a dose is, I think it's irresponsible. I think that as a recreational and an adult use dose, that like 10 milligrams seems fairly like a reasonable amount, and then you kind of go from there. And then people are micros or 5.
I wish there was something that was available that was a higher dose. I do. I often wish that for myself. Like I do, because while I do support what you're saying, it is, but I really do have periods of time where I consume a large amount of milligrams. And like, it's hard to eat 10 fucking gummies, you know,
you don't want
a
all
lot
that
of things
sugar.
I can't eat because I don't want to. I have like weird food shit. Yeah. All that sugar.
And
so like, I would
that.
really like a smaller product. Like the cookies were so good because even brownies are too much for me. I get like weird sometimes with food. So I need not like I just like can't eat certain stuff because of like texture things. So like a cookie is sometimes not for me. So I need something like or a fortune cookie was great. You know, a gummy would be sweet.
That fortune cookie was amazing.
It was awesome. There was
50
those,
milligram.
what were those 100? They were high milligram. What were they called? Shit. They were a gummy though, and like you can really like get a good chunk of it. You just gave me like a new sample or a new like version of it.
The little one, the fruit one.
Well, it has like it's like cut into squares.
Heavy hitter gummy.
Oh, was it? Well,
yeah,
whatever. It's like a version of that where it's like easy to eat. It's easy to eat a big chunk of it. It's like distillate or whatever, and it just like it goes down really easy. So I would like that. However, what I'm noticing as trend in these stories is that these are teenagers and kids. Yeah, while you may be right, and it maybe manufacturers should take a look at what's necessary to sell to the public, while overdosing is 100% possible in a lot of cases, including us. And it could lead to some pretty awful things. I'm noticing that it seems to me that the teenagers, whatever, the kids who are taking it are getting it, found it somewhere where it was easily found, because I think we're getting a little lax about this. The stigma is like, it's great to like lift the stigma, but not when it Not when like you have like your 13-year-old taking it to school and like dosing everybody, you know, like that is rough, and that gives weed kind of a bad name. I mean, it shouldn't have a bad name. It shouldn't. So this isn't like I said the baby in the bathtub thing. What?
Oh, also the name is fucking horrible too.
Yeah, like what a dumb name. Don't do that.
The whole thing is fucking horrible.
Like it's so it's like I said the baby in the bathtub thing which is a horrible image, but I said that Reefer Madness image before because that was something that like doesn't happen. These are things that like are, you know, they're happening. I think these kids are getting really sick, but I also think we should look at like what we're really saying about this. Like weed itself is not the thing. It's the taking too much of it under no supervision is the thing. And that is kind of reefer madnessing things when it doesn't need to be reefer madness. It just needs to be don't let your kids eat edibles, you know, and make sure you go through the fucking Halloween candy if you're so goddamn scared about Halloween. And like, you know, all of these things come from non-true things. But then when this stuff happens, you
take
have
some
to just
responsibility for yourself.
Everybody take responsibility and do right by your kids, and please just don't get into the rabbit hole of scapegoating weed is all we're asking. I don't even know who we're talking to, but I'm just asking somebody not to do that. Please don't do that. Just don't. And my heart goes out to whoever loses a child or whoever has a sick child. That is fucking horrible. Please don't think that I'm taking away from that experience because I am a pothead. I love weed so much, but I know you love your kid fucking more than I love weed. I'm sure of it. I completely understand that is a scary thing to go through, but weed is another thing. So just don't blame it all. Okay. So that was that.
Gummies, 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 gummies. I got gummies. Do you want some gummies? It's the Cool Nerd Weed Show.
I wanted to play it anyway because it makes me
The
happy.
final Huff and Puff with TS and Sasha.
Oh, what a ragtag pair we are tonight. It's the Cool Nerd Weed Show. It's our favorite fucking day of the week. The last thing that we're going to huff and puff about today is the Bloomberg article is funny about this. It says buying weed at a NYC bodega. Watch out for E. coli, salmonella, and lead. So if you do go into bodegas in New York, like they're selling weed, and like I noticed this happening a bit, and I wouldn't recommend that you get your weed from the bodegas. I don't want to put down the traditional market now, but
isn't that where it always came from? That's where I got mine. It's the green came from the bodega.
Well, no. Maybe.
Actually, the bullshit came from the bodega. The delivery.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I know people who have worked at bodegas and has sold me weed, but I never went, like, I feel like this is like open market weed. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Just on the counter?
I don't know if it's on the counter, but if there's pipes and stuff, like they're probably going to pull open a drawer or something.
Okay.
Didn't Fish tell us something that there was like a bodega selling weed? I don't know.
Bodega is just
I
wide
saw
open.
it too when I went. I was somewhere. I was getting my nails done. I don't know. I saw it. I don't know. I like haven't bought weed at bodega, and in my tenure of buying weed in the city, it's never come from one. But again, I have had, I guess, a couple people who've worked at bodegas and have sold me weed, but I don't think they go together. But I don't know. You may have. I don't want to take away from your experience, but I'm thinking it's like this open market that's happening in New York. I'm thinking that this is coming from that. And don't get me wrong, like legal weed is not like it's cleaner, but there's ways to get around tests and stuff. Like I'm not saying legal weed is fucking perfect, whatever, but it's not going to have E. coli on it.
that is for fucking sure.
And I don't want to put down the traditional mark. You know I don't like to do that.
I don't even know how cannabis gets E. coli on it in the first place. Lead, I could see because you're using those you're using those nutrients that aren't really meant for consumable plants. They're meant for more ornamentals to make your bags and your flowers look better. That's how you get your lead. Salmonella, I don't know. E. coli, that comes from like poo and
you said that you know a way.
Oh yeah. Well, every time there's like an E. coli breakout or some listeria or some shit, and in like lettuce.
And there was an E. coli breakout. There was like a whole listeria outbreak out here.
Yeah,
that makes sense then.
Like that always comes
I'm sorry
from,
to the weed crops. I'm sorry. You guys got watered with poop water.
Yeah, you got watered with poop water.
And there was a listeria outbreak out here. And there was like a whole big thing, remember, with all the stuff. So maybe that's where it's coming from.
Yeah.
That's so gross.
That's disgusting.
So I guess that's a thing. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Come to New Jersey. Get your weed from New Jersey. Or
they're testing it in New Jersey. It's tested.
It sure is. There's a lot of tests on this label. I know I sound like some sort of legal weed shill, but I don't know. Would you buy weed from like the places that we saw on like Union Square? Like, would you buy weed from those?
Hell no. I wouldn't.
So
I wouldn't
I'm
even
just
let you stop.
making sure I don't sound like a fuck. I know you.
No, you don't. I wouldn't even let you stop. I was totally. I had curiosity too on the street. I'm like, oh my god, there's like a whole bag of that guy's got like a whole turkey bag of pre-rolls.
I wonder if
and all the bags.
I wonder if Empire is experiencing anything from the crackdown, because there's a crackdown. I don't know if we would see those bags out. But yeah, we went to a storefront. We didn't want to. We wanted to just try and see like how legit we can find it, and we did, and that was nice. I don't know. I know that like we would like. I know that testing sounds like we got to go, but. Obviously, we didn't grow up smoking weed that was tested, right? Like, I'm not trying to be an asshole. But now we have weed that's tested, and there was a listeria outbreak, and you can assume that most of the things that you consume were affected by that, so that are not regulated and tested in some sort of form. So even though we're punks and we like for some level of anarchy, we do also, we like to resist. We do also support testing your weed for literal shit water. So, New York, you could do better, I guess. Bodegas. I'm sorry if I put down anybody's weed business at their bodega, but, I don't know. Maybe you can get great weed at a bodega. Who knows? Yeah, do better. Just maybe test for E. coli. Follow us everywhere. Cool Nerd Weed. That's what we call the show. Maybe test for E. coli. Cool Nerd Weed Show. You can find us like literally everywhere. Go on YouTube. Subscribe to us because you can see us like actually flail about, which is hilarious. And we tried to give you the good news and we tried to give you the bad news, and we were pretty stoned. So I hope we did a good job. And
don't panic.
I don't know if you can see me. It's organic.
Yeah. We want to thank you so much for being a beautiful audience. Thank you very much. We'll be back real soon. Y'all take care, and remember, unity forever, please.